Hello and welcome to Diaspora Network, where we showcase Nigerians making their country proud around the world. I'm Tenyola Oyetayo. On the program today, we focus on the significant contributions of the private sector to the development of Africa. Our special report delves deep into the pivotal role played by this sector in igniting economic growth not only within the African continent, but also far beyond its borders. Plus, we speak with the recently appointed CEO of the Africa Private Sector Summit, Dr. Lucy Newman. She takes us on her inspiring journey transitioning from the financial services sector to a current leadership role. But before we delve into that, let's take a quick look at the news of the week.
Renowned Professor of Infectious Disease Epidemiology Ibrahim Abubakar has won the $100,000 Rue Prize by the University of Washington School of Medicine for his commitment to improving public health globally. The Bauchi State native, who currently serves as Dean of the Faculty of Population Health Sciences at the University College London, has championed the fight against some of the world's most pressing health challenges, including tuberculosis and COVID-19.
My dad was contributing to what I think is a better society, and unfortunately for him, he had an accident, and the health system then was not able to provide him with the critical care he required. And at a very early age, I lost my dad to, I think, what was a preventable situation. That made me feel the society needs to do better, both in the tackling the sort of thing that drove him, the inequality and the variation in the level of care that is available, but also the fact that he wasn't able to get that level of care when he needed it most.
As part of his achievements, he drafted the Nigeria Commission of the Lancet, a leading international medical journal. The Nigerians in Diaspora organisation has congratulated Uzoma Asagwara, the first Nigerian to be appointed Health Minister and Deputy Premier of Canada's Manitoba province. Nido America's South Savannah celebrated the 29-year-old, saying they are confident she will strive to create a healthier and more equitable society. Asagwara was born in Winnipeg, Canada, after her parents migrated from Abia State in the late 1970s. In 2019, she was elected to represent the Canadian Union Station in the Manitoba Legislative Assembly. In her new role, she'll be entrusted to drive innovation and health advancements within the biosciences. 14-year-old Nigerian-Canadian artist Kanye Yachukwu Okeke has been honoured with the Young CEO Award by the Mayor of the City of Newark, New Jersey in the United States. Kanye Yachukwu, who is autistic, was recognised for his diligence and his role as an inspiration for other young people living with autism. His paintings have been exhibited in galleries and museums worldwide, including a notable showcase at the OPEC Fund for International Development art exhibition in Austria. In 2018, at just 8 years old, Kanye Chukwu was also honoured with the Flame of Peace Award in recognition of his efforts to promote peace through his artistic talents. British Airways has released an exclusive onboard playlist curated by Nigerian DJ Florence Otedola, popularly known as DJ Cuppy. This is to celebrate the airline's new route from Accra to London Gatwick, joining the existing service from Heathrow. The musician and philanthropist adds this achievement to her list of accolades, as last month she was honoured with the Philanthropic Endeavour Leadership Award by the Best of Africa Awards. Juliana Olayinka with your Diaspora Network News Wrap from London.
We've also been following the activities of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission as they continue to engage citizens living abroad through various programs. Let's take a closer look.
Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erawa, and her team pays a courtesy visit to the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubomi Tunji-Ojo. At the meeting, the minister harps on the federal government's commitment through the ministry to support NIDCOM in its vision to promote the good image of the country beyond its borders. He also gives assurances of a comprehensive review of visa policies aimed at easing migration processes for Nigerians both at home and abroad.
Majority of people that comes to Nigeria, they come for economic reasons, not just for tourism. And I also believe that we need to strengthen our visa regime such that if it's tourism, nothing stops you within 2 days from taking decisions on some of these things. But if you want to come and settle, or you want to come and work, then of course, we must by all means take our time, do our due diligence, security profiling, because as much as we want comfort, we want people to be comfortable, we must also not sacrifice the national security.
Mrs. Dabiri-Erawa commends the development and advocates for more effective passport capturing and collection process for Nigerians living abroad.
There are still challenges with Nigerians in the diaspora and their passports, and they ask us to appeal to you that the way you've been able to solve the one in Nigeria, they are waiting for you in the diaspora to do the same thing for them.
Nigerians are not only making their mark on the global stage, but also contributing significantly to global economic growth through their roles as private sector trendsetters. Here are some of their outstanding stories.
International trade expert Toyin Umesiri is a global influencer and business coach who is passionate about value creation through commercialization and monetization of assets. She founded the Trade with Africa Business Summit, AFC-FTA Roundtable, Trade with Africa Network, Africa Exporter Listing, Nigeria Investment Conference, and several other global initiatives. Prior to this, she spent a whole decade in corporate America and served as an ambassador for Intra-Africa Trade Fair. Nigerian-born Tokwe Lawani is a co-founder and managing partner at Helios Investment Partners, an African-focused private investment firm. He has over 25 years of principal investment experience. Prior to starting Helios, he was a principal in the San Francisco and London offices of TPG Capital, a leading global investment firm managing private equity, venture capital, credit and real estate investment funds. He has an MBA from Harvard Business School and a Juris Doctorate from Harvard Law School, where he serves as a member of the Dean's Advisory Board. He is also a member of the Board of Directors of the Emerging Markets Private Equity Association. Chinedu Echoro is a partner and head of principal investing at Constant Capital, a West Africa-based investment bank. He came to global limelight in 2013 when Apple Incorporated acquired his app, Hopstop. Before his entrepreneurial career, Mr. Echoro worked with a broad range of financing and private equity companies. He holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and a BSc in Finance and Accounting from Syracuse University. With an outstanding leadership, creativity, and entrepreneurial spirit, these and many more Nigerians are flying the country's flag in the private sector.
Our special report this week provides a comprehensive view of the private sector's pivotal role in stimulating economic growth across the African continent and even beyond. Let's take a look.
The private sector is widely recognized as an essential component in the economic growth of every society. It's a major contributor to national income and a principal job creator.
The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Industry.
Africa is home to a significant number of international private sector organizations. Through different channels, both profit and non-profit firms are promoting public good to benefit society and make gains from business activities. Interestingly, some of the biggest private sector institutions in Africa and diaspora are run by Nigerians. With outstanding leadership experiences, credibility, and network, they drive positive impact at different levels through collaboration with other partners, including governments and international organizations.
We have to make sure that our leadership is creating the enabling environment for our private sector to grow. So when we talk about development, I don't even know what development means. I don't know any country that was built who built its economy with development theory. The US was not built by, it's true they have a plan, the Marshall Plan and so forth, but it was an incentive that was put in place to have a vibrant private sector. So we really need to create an enabling environment for our private sector to grow. We need to invest on Africans.
These enablers are lending their voices to the call to strengthen and advance the critical role of structural transformation of African and diaspora economies. Industry players advocate more participation in governance and policy implementation to promote trade and investment in Africa and across the continent.
And now let's meet Dr. Lucy Newman, the Nigerian with a vision for Africa, who was recently appointed as the CEO of the Africa Private Sector Summit, a private non-profit organization promoting trade and investment on the continent. Born in 1965 in Mubi, which is now known as Adamawa State, Dr. Lucy Newman spent her early years in northern Nigeria, attending primary school in Borno State and secondary school in Kaduna. She has a doctorate in business administration from the University of Phoenix in the United States, an MBA and a BSc in business administration from Ahmadu Bello University, Nigeria. Commencing her career in 1987 as a youth corper at Borno Investment Company Limited, she ascended the ranks, ultimately achieving the position of general manager at a subsidiary company in Lagos. She furthered her career by taking on pivotal roles in esteemed financial institutions such as Omega Bank, FSB International Bank, and United Bank for Africa. She also contributed her skills at PwC as a senior consultant. In 2009, a new chapter in her career unfolded as she assumed the role of Managing Director at the Financial Institutions Training Center. Her exceptional leadership resulted in the extension of her first tenure in 2013, and she continued in this position until September 2019. While working at the financial services sector, Dr. Newman recognized certain corporate governance issues and felt a strong desire to make a more significant impact. She made the decision to take a voluntary early retirement and enrolled and completed the INSEAD International Director Certificate on Corporate Governance Executive Program in France. This move marked her transition into policy advisory and international consulting. She then wrote her latest book called African Leaders, Tête-à-Tête, aimed at providing invaluable insights for leaders on how to lead with sustainable results. Her dedication and expertise did not go unnoticed, leading to her recognition and an invitation to assume her current role as the CEO of the Africa Private Sector Summit. Dr. Newman has received several awards throughout her career, including the prestigious Thomas F. Gilbert Distinguished Professional Achievement Award. She's married to Dr. Rotimi Gabriel Olukodano and is a devoted mother to 3 adult sons and a teen stepdaughter. Coming up on the program, we explore Dr. Newman's vision and inspiration. Please stay with us. Dr. Lucy Newman, it's a pleasure to have you join us on Diaspora Network.
Thank you, Teniola, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
I mean, firstly, congratulations on your new role as the CEO of Africa Private Sector Summit. How has that been for you so far? And, help us understand what attracted you to this role.
Okay. It's been wonderful, and I actually feel blessed being in this role. The Africa Private Sector Summit is a fantastic place, and the mandate is wonderful because it's non-partisan, it's pan-African, and it's non-profit. And it also has a vision that is so clear, that is so inclusive, because it's all about achieving the objectives of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and also in pursuit of the Africa we want, Agenda 2063.
Let's talk about you and your journey. You've had a remarkable career spanning different sectors. I mean, if I start to list them, we'll be here all day. But, speak to us about the pivotal moments for you, especially the inspiration for your transition from the financial services sector to where you are now.
Thank you, Teniola. Actually, it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm very grateful for that. I also think by nature, I always seek to fix things. Even as a little child, I tried to find out how to fix things. And then also, while I was growing up, when I went to my high school, I had a challenge with French. In my first semester, I flunked French. I got 25%.
Wow. And you speak French now, right?
Oui, je parle un peu.
Oh, perfect.
Ce n'est pas très bien parce que j'ai oublié beaucoup, mais je parle un peu. If I find myself in the streets of France or any French country, I can buy things and can find my way around this. So when I went and I got 25% in the first semester, that was horrible. So my French teacher thought I was a poor student. She saw my subjects my grades in other subjects. And she was so upset that it was only her subject that I failed. And she wanted to have a conversation with me. She asked why. I said, I've never studied French. That was the first time I was seeing French. So she told me about the tenses, the structures and everything. And she asked me that if I don't understand, I come forward and ask. That aspect of her reaching out and telling me the key building blocks of creating French, it was so helpful because at the end of that year, I got 2 prizes. The first prize was I was the best student in French. And the second prize was I was the most improved student. So that singular event made me not to accept failure. And when I see a problem, I want to fix it. So if you look at my career, as you have asked, everywhere I go to, it has to do with fixing something. Whether in the financial system, I developed products. I also restructured organizations. And then I also went in the banking. I was developing products. I was working with teams and helping people to do better. Then I became like an executive coach. And then in the process of that, I started to see that everything gets bad because there are some people that sit in a room and take decisions and it affects the whole organization. That is the board. So I wanted to know what's going on in that room that they sit around the table to take those policies. That was what got me interested in governance. And as I got to see governance in the organization, I also see that some organizations can be doing so hard, so well, but there are things that happen in the bigger economy that affect their performance and they have no control. So that led me into the governance, the development, and those things. And while I was in my other place, my immediate past place as CEO, those things, the more I saw them, the more it was a problem to me. So I actually left after my 2 terms. I was not yet 60, but I said I wasn't going to stay till I retired. I needed to fix issues. That was how also I left PwC. I said I needed to go put my hand in the till, like get things fixed. I went to FITC. So I left and I took a career break. During that career break, I traveled to France and I attended INSEAD Business School. And there was always a long drive from Fontainebleau to Paris. And during those drives, whenever I travel to countries, I like to go not from airport to airport, but I take bus rides, train rides, see the people and look at that. And that made me see that Africa we have almost generic problems. And then when I saw Europe, I saw the States, America, I saw Middle East, I saw Asia. The only difference is the processes, how we think, how we do things, because nature gives us everything, but how do we convert those things? So that's how my journey has been. The driving force is trying to make an impact, helping people solve problems, and also my faith, trying to see that I fulfill purpose and I support people to be the best. Because while I was in college, my teacher gave me an opportunity to fix something, and I turned out to be a very good student. So I tend to think failure is relative, depending on opportunities and what we know and how much guidance we have to do what is right, then we can have the right outcomes. So that's how the journey has been. Nothing structured. I just go with the flow and I take opportunities as they come. Even the APSs, I was invited, after France, I wrote a book. I published a book last year. It's called African Leaders Tête-à-Tête. And in the course of discussing that book, I didn't know some people were observing me and listening to what I was saying. And that was how I was invited to APSs. That, do I know this platform? I got to the platform and I usually share my views. And then I was invited, would I like to take the role of a CEO? And I was like, whoa, the role was not even advertised. So I thought about it, I reflected about it, I leaned on my faith, prayed about it, and I felt convinced that it was the next step for me.
I'm interested in what you hold as your proudest professional achievements and the journey that led to them.
Thank you. Another beautiful question. There's so many of them. I'll just try to narrow them. And bring it closer home. In 2012, I was elected as an international director on the global board of International Society for Performance Improvement. That my aspiration for wanting to fix things is what led me to the International Society of Performance Improvement. And after being in that place for more than 10 about 10 years or so, there was an opportunity for election. I'd been making so much noise and I was criticizing some of the issues they were having. And then I was invited if I would like to participate in the elections. So I asked my mentor, do you think I've been talking too much and that talk might actually be a liability? She said, no, it actually stands you out. Why don't you throw your hat in? So when I got elected as the International Director of ISPI in 2012 to represent members in 48 countries, that was the 50th year of ISPI, and I was the first African ever on the board. I actually cried when I got back to my hotel room and I looked at my plaque. Yes. Then in 2019, I received the T.F. Gilbert Award for Professional Excellence and Achievement. T.F. Gilbert is, Dr. T.F. Gilbert is an engineer. His works were the founding works that the principle of ISPI was created, and it was an award, the highest individual award created after him, 1978. I was the 30th recipient of that award, and not every year they had a recipient. When I received that award, I just felt as if Dr. T.F. Gilbert was giving me a pat on my shoulder for the works that I had done. Those two, when you do something at home and you're recognized, you take it that you are recognized because you were part of the family. But when you get recognized outside and you're being recognized as the first person, I was the first person to receive the T.F. Gilbert Award outside of North America and Europe. So when I received it, I got congratulatory messages from China, from Japan, among the membership. For me, that showed me that I needed to carry that award, and I was not just representing myself, I was representing everybody that I identified with. So those two milestones, even as I'm talking to you, I'm still having goosebumps. Those two milestones are very, very profound, and they're inspiring that we should keep doing what is right, even if we don't get acknowledgement. Somebody is watching, and someday it will pay back. And if it pays back, we'll be inspiring many, many more.
Yeah, definitely inspiring a lot of people. And, it's been an amazing journey for you. And I guess, the question is, you're very outspoken. You say what you want to, you say what you want to see. Have there been challenges in navigating your field as a Nigerian woman, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, yes. Challenges, so many of them. So many of them in the corporate world, even in terms of where I come from. I'm a female Christian from the Northeast. So that also comes with some messages, because there's discrimination by your tribe, there's discrimination by your religion, especially if you don't have any apology about your religion and apology about your values. You stand out, and for that, people can eliminate you from certain considerations. Then the other one is the color of your skin. I've done so many things around the world, and there are some places that when you show up just by the color of your skin, certain perceptions are held about you, and it's over time that you either confirm those perceptions or you don't. So that's that. And then also there's the issue of bullying and abuse. But I'm so grateful for my upbringing. We're brought up to stand for our rights.
I think that wraps up our discussion really nicely. Dr. Lucy Newman, thank you so much for your time and the amazing work you do for Africa, and being an inspiration, for many, many people. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Teniola. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this edition of Diaspora Network. Remember, you can watch more amazing and inspiring stories of Nigerians in the diaspora on our YouTube channel and website, channelstv.com. Till next time, I'm Teniola Oyetayo. Bye for now.